Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to start a bit of a new project. If you know me and you've watched this channel more than just this video, essentially, you know that I love nature, I especially love birds, and I'm native to Florida. And so I have done in the past a painting of some South Florida reef fish. I'm gonna go grab that so I can show you what I'm talking about. So here is this. There's gonna be a bit of a glare, obviously, but I've done one of these before, like this, and I'm quite happy with the way this looks. I think it reminds me of those manuals you see at like the bait stores and things like that. And I think they're really cool. And so I wanna make another one, and I enjoy giving myself long-term projects, and I figured this would be good. I can get a couple videos out of this month, especially with my new video cycle that I'm gonna try here, where I'm gonna upload every Tuesday this month, and then I'll post a couple shorts throughout the rest of the week talking about the video that I did. And so this month I'll be working on this project, and we'll do whatever feels like a good stopping point to me. So let's go ahead and get started with this first week. I am going to start by lettering this out, and then we'll start here and work this way. So let's go ahead and really quickly get to lettering. So I've left a little space here under the D because I think I want this sandhill crane to kind of come over the top of it. So we will touch that up a little bit later. But let's move on to our first bird, which is going to be the great egret. These guys are all white, so this will be a fun one to paint to start with, but I think it'll make for, it fills this nicely, and I really like the great blue herons, and it felt wrong, especially if I'm doing wetland birds, to not include the nice big egret that we've got here. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in so you can see what's going on. And we will line this up.
I wish I knew.
So there's our pen lining done. I'm gonna go ahead and bust out the paintbrush now, and we can get some of these base colors down. Now, because this is a white bird, we have to be a little more careful than we normally would when it comes to painting this. We gotta be slightly more delicate with our choice of colors and our water usage. And so I'll show you what I mean by that and how I'm going to avoid overdoing it and making this white bird not look so white. So I'm grabbing this brush here. What kind of brush is it? Don't know, don't care. It's not important. Let's lock the screen. Sorry if I made it so that you couldn't see what was going on earlier. I'm loading my brush up with water, and in order to make something look like it is white, I usually do a very light blue. There's a little bit of brown, a little bit of black, a little bit of purple that was already in here. And so that's going to dull out my blue a tad, but I'm not really upset about that. And so let's start in the shadow areas. And so now, with more water than I just had, I'm gonna come in here and just let some of this flow over the rest of the painting, or the rest of the bird, I should say. And those colors will blend just a tad. And I can pick up some of that blue, and so that's not just pure white of the paper. I'm now gonna mix a slightly more pigmented blue, and this is gonna help me with some deeper shadows. The legs are black, so I'm gonna mix some more black, some more purple, some of my really dark blue here, just to get a nice dark bluish gray. And we can fill that in here. And now for the head, these guys on their heads tend to have a little bit more color than just yellow. Their beaks are yellow, but when they're in breeding season, some of the color around their eyes changes. So I'm gonna give this guy his breeding colors just because I think it looks a little more interesting. And what that means is I'm gonna have to pick up some green, as they get some green up here around their eyes. And so I can put that in here and then go back into my purpley gray from earlier, warm it up a bit with some more brown, and apply that to the top. And then yellow on the bottom. So you can see there, that is gonna be our great egret. I will come in here with my white marker just to give us a little bit more interest. I'm gonna put a little bit of white highlight up here, just some lines through the wing. You can hardly even see these. It's more for the in-person view. And a little bit of shine to the legs. Okay, so there is our great egret. So I'm gonna now move on to our next bird, which is probably gonna be this great blue heron right next to him. So let's readjust the camera and I'll be right back. Here's been the readjustment to the camera. I'm gonna take my kneaded eraser and pick up just a tad of this graphite, just so it's not so dark. We don't want it to show through too much. Not as big of a deal for a guy like this, who is mostly gray. It won't really show, but it's good practice to do it that way. All right, great blue heron, let's go. These great blue herons are some of my favorite birds. I don't know that I really have an exact favorite bird of all, but great blue heron is definitely up there for me. It's just one that I've always liked. Being native to Florida, I see them a lot. I always kind of have, and so they have always stuck out to me as quite an interesting bird. And I love, they're so big and they're really quite graceful. And their colors are, I wouldn't say unusual. So there's some pretty strange bird colors, but their colors are just really nice. Nice to look at, nice to photograph. They stand out really well, especially when they're in an area that's got a lot of greenery. So they've got this dull blue, gray color going on. And arguably their most important feature here is this dark blue streak that goes to the back of their head and the little feathers that come off of it. That's so cool. Love the way that it looks. All right, so there's the pen work for him. Let's get into the painting. The head on this guy is white, so I'm going to use a very similar technique that we did for the great egret. We've also got some of that white that travels down into the body as well. Okay, now let's mix a bluey gray and we'll start that here on the back. Something that is nice about these guys that a lot of artists miss, or something you don't necessarily think about, is the neck is, while a similar gray, not exactly the same. The neck's gray is more on the warm side. So I'm gonna mix a bit of a brown for the upper neck portion. And Now let's do some of our hard blue lines. I'm gonna soften that up, but use that same color so that we have some cohesiveness here to do some of my shadow work. Legs on this guy are similar to this brown that we put in the head at the top, or I guess the base? I don't know. What would you consider that? I think it's the base at the hips. And then they're a softer tan down the rest of the leg. So we can get that here while we're working. Be easy to put that in now. And let's do this beak and eyeball. They are a nice bright yellow, which we love. Yellow stands out really nicely against all this other color. Like our egret, the yellow is on the bottom, and there's kind of a gray blue on the top. I'm just gonna add a little bit more texture to the neck here. Maybe a little bit of it to the back as well. And now for this guy, the white pen is gonna make a world of difference. First, I'm going to add in some more black lines. And the reason for this is so that I can cover them up. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how it works. I've got to put the black down so that I can cover it with white, so they can just poke through just enough that it's interesting. Now, we come in with white. That little tiny bit of black didn't do a ton, but it just helped this to pop ever so slightly more. There's our great blue heron. Something else I want to do is put in the names of our birds as well. So let's do that on these two guys while they're in frame. This is the stressful part. I'll do it with pencil first. Okay, so I got the pencil lines in. Let's do this. Great blue heron, great egret. So I think now we can move on to these two pelicans. So this is a brown pelican, this is a white pelican. So I'm gonna start with the brown pelican and then we'll jump down here. Pen lines are in for the pelican. We have another bit of white. So we're gonna do the same thing here as we have done for the other two bits of white that we had on our birds. So we've got more yellow. Woohoo, I love yellow. This guy's got a yellow head. I'm gonna go a little bit of pink around the eye. I'm gonna go with a cool black for the face. So purple and blue. If this is your first time watching, I never use just one straight color. I'm always mixing at least two colors together. Just gives me a more interesting colors and makes for more interesting painting at the end of it. Instead of just putting black down, I'll mix a couple colors with it to make it something that looks a little nicer than that. And so in this case, this black has been mixed with blue and purple. And for the dark of the body, the dark blacks of the body, I'm gonna add some brown into it to make a warmer black. And hopefully you can see the difference when I put this down. We'll add some water here to our color just to soften it up a little bit. So the whole thing doesn't have to be that black. Okay, we're now dry to the touch. I'm gonna come in here and add in some highlights with my white pen. I'm just following the general direction that the wings feathers are going in. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I will be going back in with my black pen too to give even more detail. But especially in an area like this, we want to follow the direction of the feathers, and it gives us the exact effect we're looking for. Last thing to do is add a little bit of highlighting to the face and a few detail marks in the beak. All right, there is our brown pelican. And we can move on to the white pelican. Pelicans are another one of those birds that I really like. I've got a lot of experience with them. Fishing a lot when I was little and being so close to the water, you see a lot of pelicans around here. Both brown and white. I want to say I read some information. I can double check this and there'll be a thing flashing here if I'm telling the truth or not. Or if I'm just repeating some fake story that I heard. But I think not all, if you've been around this area for any amount of time, you've seen one of these pelicans diving into the water. And I believe, or I have been led to believe at the very least, that these species of pelicans that dive here are some of the only species of pelicans that actually do dive into the water. I thought all pelicans dove to catch their fish, but apparently they don't all dive like these guys do. Obviously they all scoop the pelicans all scoop fish up in their beaks. That's kind of what they're there for, but apparently they don't all dive like these guys do. And I could be wrong. I could have been misinformed, and I'll tell you that right now. But something else that I learned about that was that these guys always turn the same direction every time they land in the water. Either to the right or to the left. I don't remember which one it is specifically. And the reason they do that is because their organs are on one side of their body, and when they turn the way that they do, it protects the organs from having too much damage done to them, which is really neat. That's a cool trait to have developed over time. I think that's really, really awesome. I'm either right and you're seeing this, or I'm wrong and you're not seeing this. So if I've read it to you, I'm right, and I'll confirm that. But I'm pretty sure that's true. So this guy is white. We know how to do white. So let's go ahead and do that really quickly. Put in the beak now. We've got kind of a pinky orange. And we'll put in our black wingtips here. And now let's get in some more of our shadow color. So now we can get to our white detailing. I want to do a little bit more shadow here on the underside of the beak and kind of the pouch area. Now, deciding where to put the words, I think we'll go right under his beak. That's 4 done. I think we'll call it there for today's video. I've been recording for about an hour. I'll see if I can cut this down into something nice. And then next Tuesday, we will do probably 4 more. But I don't want to overwork myself, and I don't want to make these videos too long and boring for you guys. So that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy this video, do me a favor, hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell, share with your friends. All the standard YouTube video things. It makes a world of difference for this channel, for any channel, but especially one this small. Shows YouTube that this is cool content that you like. It'll show not only you more of it, it'll show other people more of it as well. So thank you once again. There's a couple things up on the side here. You can see this box roughly in this area that will show you a video that YouTube thinks you would like. And then there's this little circle down here that's got my signature in it, and that will take you directly to my channel. Thank you once again so much for watching. Tell me some more ideas you have for birds you want me to put in this. Maybe I can find some room to add a few more. And I will see you guys in the next one.